Welcome back to another episode of College Hockey Talk. On today's podcast, we have former Princeton Tiger and ECAC champion Carly Bullock. Carly, thank you so much for joining us today, and how are you doing?
Oh,
I'm doing pretty well, and my first question to you is, how's quarantine been going for you, and how have you personally been dealing with this whole coronavirus thing?
well, in the beginning, it was a lot tougher. Having to leave school early, um, leave all my friends, have the hockey season cut short. That was absolutely devastating. But now it's been getting a lot better. Been able to get back on the ice, back in the gym. So it's been a lot better now. Just still trying to stay safe and healthy, and while still being able to get on the ice and get back to normal life.
And I want to start off before you played for Princeton. You grew up in Eden Prairie. How did you start playing hockey?
So I have an older brother. He's 5 years older than me, and I grew up watching him play. I'd go to every rink with my parents to watch him, and I wanted to be just like him. So I started skating probably at like 1 or 2 years old, just on the backyard rink, just because I saw my brother doing it, and that's what I wanted to do. So yeah, I just wanted to be like him and followed in his footsteps.
Now, did you have a favorite particular player growing up, and what part about their game did you enjoy the most?
Yeah, growing up when I was younger, Sidney Crosby, he's always been my favorite. Like ever since I can remember, probably about like 10 years old, he's been my favorite player. Um, just watching him, it's like an art form the way he plays and scores and can just see the ice. It was amazing watching him when I was young.
And do you like one part about his game? I wonder if you understand or like is the work ethic that he has before and on and off the ice, the way he prepares and the way he like puts all of his energy in hockey. Is that something you try to emulate as well?
Yeah, I mean, to be as good as he is, he is working so hard, like day in and day out, and to make it as far as he has and accomplish as much as he has, you definitely have to have the right work ethic. So that's also been something that I've looked up to from him, and everyone that's playing at that level, and in the Olympics and NHL, it's definitely something you have to have a great work ethic to make it that far.
And before Princeton, you played for the Blake School. Talk about what it was like to play there.
So Minnesota high school hockey is definitely an amazing experience. I know it's very different than a lot of other states. So I was very fortunate to grow up in Minnesota for a hockey player. It was an amazing experience. I loved playing at Blake. We were we had a very good team my 5 years there. So we actually won three state championships, and getting to play in the XL Energy Center, in front of, and for the girls it's not packed, but this whole school still comes, and it's such a fun experience for a high school kid. That really was a fun experience as a high schooler. Absolutely loved playing in Minnesota high school league.
And like you mentioned earlier, you also won three state championships in your time there. What did you do in particular to help sustain your team's success?
Since, well, Blake was a small school, so we had seventh graders playing on varsity. And I think a big part of our success was our team culture at Blake. Just because, like, when you have seventh graders playing with high schoolers, it can get, it's tricky. But I think we did a really great job of kind of including everyone, and everyone kind of seeing their role, and just wanting the best for the team, and that ultimately worked out for 3 years.
And how did those experiences at Blake School help you prepare for college hockey?
Um, I think it really shaped me into the player I am today. It gave me, there was great talent in Minnesota high school hockey. So it gave me competition. It gave me, and playing with younger kids definitely helped me evolve into a leader. And I think that really was instrumental in becoming the player I am today, and how I've been at Princeton.
And is there any particular championship that you won at Blake that you look back on the most?
Um, well, they're all very special, but I think my freshman year was probably the most special because when I was in eighth grade, I was on varsity, and our coach very suddenly and tragically had passed away in April. And so in ninth grade, it was a new coach, and I ended up having a great relationship with Coach Reed. Absolutely loved him as a coach and person. But that year was kind of, our motto was to play for Brano and to win for Brano. And we ended up winning the state championship, and we wore his patch on our jerseys the whole year. So I think that one was really special and definitely something I'll never forget.
Well, that's a great story. And I want to talk about your recruiting process and why you chose Princeton, because I know when you go to an Ivy League school, it's a little bit different than going to a school that isn't Ivy because there's non-letter intention and stuff like that. So talk about that and why did you choose Princeton?
Yeah, so I wanted to go to an Ivy League school because I had the opportunity, and with hockey, it's I wasn't sure if I would have been able to get that opportunity without it. So to be able to play hockey and attend the best school in the nation, it seemed like a very obvious choice for me. And then looking at other Ivies, Princeton just came down. It was the best. Well, it's the best school. And then the coaching staff there was amazing. The location was amazing. Campus, everything was just like, I couldn't imagine going anywhere else. But for the letter of intent, so you can't sign it because it's contingent on your admission to the school. So I committed my fall of my junior year of high school, and you have to still work really hard in school and hockey because you have to get into the school. Hockey can help, but it's not as much as some of the other schools just because of the rigor process of admission. So you just have to keep working really hard in school up until you get your acceptance letter.
Well, I want to talk about you playing in your first season as a freshman, and what was the biggest adjustment you had to make playing college hockey? Was it the mental side of the game, or making quicker decisions, or was it the physical side, playing against players that are a lot older than you were?
It was definitely both. In the beginning, I would say it was more the mental side. Just everything is coming at you so fast. You have, well, in school, adjusting to college life, being away from home, and then you have the other aspects, hockey, everything's so much quicker, everyone's better. That definitely took a while to get used to. But everyone, at least on my team, was so supportive. And everyone wants the best for the team and wants the best for their teammates. So everyone is very helpful, with school and helping you with classes and with hockey, kind of explaining the way and, showing like how to be the best you can be in all aspects of Princeton life. So it was definitely hard to get used to, but I'd say after half my freshman year, it clicked and went off.
And you also beat number 10 ranked Quinnipiac in the quarterfinals in your freshman season. What was it like to beat such a good team at that time, and what did you learn during your first playoff ECAC run?
Yeah, that was a really special one too, because I think it was the first time we had won a quarterfinal ECAC in, I don't remember the exact years, but in some time. And so to be a part of that team, it was really, really special. And, just learning that in those moments, you can never quit. Like playing a 3-game series, that was the first series I had ever played. And you can't, like, they are going to give everything they have, and you can never quit, and just you have to push through, and it's do or die, and everyone wants to keep playing. And to be able to come out on top, and especially against such a great team, and we always say our league is the most competitive, so to be able to beat that team my freshman year definitely just gave me a confidence boost and our whole team going forward.
And you also won ECAC Rookie of the Year that same year. Describe the emotions you were feeling when you found out you won that award.
So that was amazing. I was so excited and nervous at that banquet. There were two other great players up against me. One, my teammate, Stephanie B, and Cornell, Kristen O'Neill. So I had absolutely no idea who was going to win it. And, I was just so honored, and it was such an accomplishment, but I was so honored to have won that. It was definitely a really great time, and I was very excited.
Now, during your sophomore year, your team lost to Cornell in a tough series. Did you take anything away from that series and that helped you for your junior and senior year?
Yeah, our sophomore year, so we had a really short roster that year, so that was a struggle. Just kind of like everyone learning their place with such a short bench, so that was tough. But the from the series, I think we definitely learned that, um, you know, well, we did win one game, so that was a big accomplishment for us, and I think from that we just kind of learned that, like, in our league and in hockey, any team can win on any given day, and like you cannot take a day off no matter how high you're ranked, because like Cornell probably thought that they were going to come in and easy sweep. So for us to even just get one win for that year, like, it would have been nice to be able to complete it, but to get that one win and even force a game three when they were ranked so much higher than us, it just reminded us always that any team can win on any given day, and you can never take a team for granted.
Also during your sophomore year, your team upset the number one team in the country and the national champion of that year, Clarkson. Talk about being the number one team in the country that year, and how did it help you when it gaining confidence?
Yeah, that was an amazing game. That was definitely the biggest confidence boost of that year. I hadn't beaten Clarkson yet, and just to do so with them being the amazing team that they were, and to go on and win the national championship, and for us to have such a short bench, so much adversity through that year. It was it felt like we had just won the national championship. And we shut them out. It was absolutely amazing. Such a great confidence boost that we needed for that year to remind us, we can do this. And we ended up, I mean, it wasn't our best year, but it was definitely a very memorable year. And to be able to beat the number one seed was amazing.
In your junior year, you got to play in the national tournament for the very first time. What was that experience like for you, and especially playing in Minnesota, close to where you grew up?
Yeah, that was really fun. To be able to come back to Minnesota and, just playing in NCAA's, the whole experience was amazing. We had a ton of family and friends there, and they had a big welcome committee at the hotel, and it felt like so surreal getting to Minnesota and, playing the Gophers too, which I grew up watching, the Minnesota women's Gophers team. I grew up watching them. So to be able to play in Ritter and play against them, it was definitely a really, really exciting feeling. And, it would have been nice. It would have been nice to win and keep going that year. But I think for us, a lot of that team that was in Minnesota returned. And I think it was a really good learning experience. And, we kind of came back stronger, and we weren't as like shell shocked as when we were ranked higher this year. And we were like, we know that we can play with these teams, because it was a close game with Minnesota. And we knew that we could play with these high ranked teams, and we could play with anyone in the nation. And it was definitely a really great experience. So I was really happy. And to be in Minnesota, it was just the cherry on top.
Now, going into your senior year, what type of leadership were you trying to bring to this year's Princeton team?
I would say I was the very like motivational leader, especially in game time. I get very into our games, and when we weren't, I would just kind of like let the team know what's going on, what's happening during the game, what we need to pick up. I'm very vocal in the locker room, so I think that played a big part in it. And yeah, just always kind of picking people up when they're down, and trying to keep the energy up, and, letting people know too when something's not right, and just trying to, be the best leader I could be, and how to fix things, all the little things.
Now, I want to talk about this past year, and especially the ECAC playoffs. You had a really good regular season. What was the message heading into that ECAC playoffs?
Yeah, so this is, it's still it seems surreal this past year, and just everything that happened and the ending. But we had such a good year too. But going into the playoffs, we were playing Quinnipiac again, who, even though we were playing them in the first round of playoffs, were ranked, I think, number 10 in the nation. So, to be playing that good of a team in the first round of your conference's playoffs is like absolutely crazy. So you think, and we always say like that the ECAC is the best and the most talented conference. And I think that just goes to prove it, that you can play such a high ranked national team in the first round of playoffs. But yeah, going in, we know that any team can beat anyone on any given day. And Quinnipiac did. They got a win, and it was not an easy series. And I think we were ready for it. We were so ready for that playoff series and for that playoff run. And the overtime was very, very stressful. But we were lucky to our fitness prevailed, and we were able to win that series and move on. And it was crazy because one shot could have gone the other way and our season would have been over. But everyone played great that weekend. We really rallied together, and I think that really helped our win.
What challenges did Quinnipiac bring during that series, and how did you compare it to the last time you played them in the playoffs?
I think the biggest thing was that they did not give up. They did not stop. And the first game we scored 4 goals very quickly. And that game, it's kind of easy. Like once we got the 4 goals in the first, 10 minutes something of the game, we were like, oh, we've got this. And then they came back the second game and beat us. And the third game they came back, and when we were up, and we were like, we got a little worried, but just that, I'd say that was a challenge. And you're always prepared. Like you think you're always prepared for these until it happens. So I think that just kind of, we had to remember that, like, even though we are the higher seeded team, they are not giving up. Like this, they're putting everything on the line. This is their season too. So I think that was just kind of the hardest part too. And the Quinnipiac just did not quit. They were trying so hard. They were playing physical. They played amazing. It was such a fun series.
Now, going into the championship game against Cornell, you guys just beat Clarkson, who had the Patty Kazmaier Award winner. What was your mindset heading into that game against the number 1 team in the country in their barn?
That was going into it. I couldn't even tell you what our was going through our minds. It was kind of, for us, I think we had already pretty much secured an at-large bid, and we were just excited to be in the ECAC finals because we had never been there as a program. And I remember the day before just being so excited to even continue playing and not going home on the bus, which we had done twice prior. So just that, it was the initial shock of it was all kind of like, wait, we can do it. And then, we realized like we could beat Cornell. Like, yeah, we hadn't beaten them during the regular season, but we knew how they played. Like, we know how to beat this team. And it was absolutely devastating going down 2-0 so quickly. But our team really pulled together, and it was just kind of a like, why, like, we can do it. Like, let's just go. Like, let's just play hockey. Let's have fun. I think it was nice that there wasn't it was stressful because we wanted to win the ECAC championship, but it was kind of nice, like almost having that thought in the back of our head that like, even if we don't win, like we most likely will get an at-large bid. It would be really amazing to win the ECACs, but just kind of having that thought, like, it's fine. Like, let's just go play. Like, let's do it. Let's win. Like, that's not going to be the end of the world, but it was definitely one of the like weirdest mindsets I've had going into a championship game since we like didn't have to win, but I think that really helped.
Now, when you won against Cornell in overtime, winning the ECAC championship, what emotions were you feeling winning your first ever ECAC championship, especially since a team like Cornell, who was obviously the number 1 team in the country at the time?
Yeah, that was just pure joy. When we saw, like, and the puck too, like it bounced off different people. It went up and over the goalie. We had no idea what had just happened. We were just like ran out and dogpiled Mariah. Like, it was absolutely crazy. Not again, we won the ECAC after our first time being in the final game, first time program history. and we're beating the number one team, not only in the ECAC, but in the entire nation. Like, it was just absolutely madness. We were so excited. We had just done, so much. We had come back from being down 2-0 in the first couple minutes of the game. Like, it was just, and we had lost to them last year in ECACs, not in the finals, but in semis. So that just felt great to come back, beat them in their own rink in front of their own fans, and it was very, very full. And the Cornell fans are very loud. So that was absolutely amazing to kind of stick it to them and win in front of their fans.
Now, you were supposed to play in the NCAA tournament this year before everything got shut down. Where did you find out, and what was the reaction amongst your teammates and yourself since you just realized you played your final game at Princeton?
It was absolutely devastating. We go back all the time and we've talked it all through, but we were actually getting ready to leave for Boston to go play Northeastern. Our bags were packed in the locker room. We were just kind of waiting on the bus on the all clear because, we'd been hearing all day, like, oh, Boston doesn't want us to come because there had been some cases in the town of Princeton, not in the university, but in the town. So Northeastern didn't want us to come. Then we heard that, like, Princeton Athletics didn't want us to go because they were worried we were going to get it in Boston and come back. And just all this waiting. It was a waiting game. So I was actually in my room with a couple friends, and the worst part too was that it got tweeted before we actually knew, before our coaches knew. So we saw a tweet from the NCAA saying that they canceled the rest of the winter postseasons. And I think that was just like the hardest part, like not being able to be told in like a calm way by our coach and like being prepared. Like, we were on our phones, like packing our rooms up, ready to go to Boston. And then we see a tweet of all things, and our coaches didn't even know. So then we got on the phone and we're like, wait, is this real? Is this including us? Like, what is going on? And no one knew anything. And then eventually a couple minutes later, we figured it out that everything was done. And that was just heartbreaking. We had such a good run and such a good year, and we really felt like this was our year to win. So that was really tough, but we really came together that night, and those next couple of days. We had a quick banquet that Kara put together. So that was really nice just to be together one last time as a team. And, it was absolutely devastating, but I think our team handled it in the best way possible. And I was glad that, we were all able to come together for a quick little like banquet thing. And it was, looking back, it was nice to be together in those final moments.
Now, do you look back on that and realize how lucky you were, though, that you won your final game in overtime and winning a championship, where many players in the country didn't even have the opportunity to play in a final game or in a playoff game in that matter?
Yeah, I think that it's both, it's both comforting and it makes it that much harder too, because, had our season ended a week before, our season would have already been done when all of this had happened. So it was like, looking back, I'll always remember that my last game, like in a Princeton uniform, we won the ECAC championship. We beat the number one team in the nation. But then you also have to think, like, we were on a roll. Like, we were playing so well. And so then you always think, what if? And I know those other 7 teams that were going to NCAAs, they're definitely thinking that too. But it is very comforting to look back and be able to say that my last collegiate hockey game, we were ECAC champions. So, it's bittersweet, but I definitely think if it had to end, that was probably the best way it could have.
And I want to talk about one of your teammates, Sarah Fillier. We've gotten a lot of players on the podcast talking about how great of a player she is. I want to get your opinion on what she's like as a teammate and as a player, especially since you played with her in college for 2 years.
Yeah, Sarah is a one-of-a-kind player. She is not only an amazing player, she's an amazing person too. And I was actually, coming in her freshman year, I was actually her mentor. We do like a freshman junior mentor-mentee system. So, that was nice just to be able to kind of connect with her before she even got to school. And, she is just a all around great person. She's funny, super nice. But then on the ice, she is lethal. And I've not only been on the same team, but pretty much the same line for 2 years. And getting to play with her has just been amazing. She has the best vision. She's fast. She's tenacious. Every aspect of her game is amazing. And I've said it a bunch before, but I can't wait to see how much she accomplishes in the future, with Princeton and with Canada, because I know she is going to be around in hockey for a long time, and she is going to accomplish some amazing things, because she is truly a one-of-a-kind player.
Now, another teammate I want to talk about who's also very good is Maggie Connors. Talk about playing with her and how good her game is as well.
Yeah, and that was our other line mate. So, those two just, they really, coming in freshman year, like I said, it can be really difficult. And I think those two really stepped up to the challenge, and we needed a boost that year. We needed some people to come in and really, play some great hockey. And I'd say those two absolutely crushed it. They played so well both years. And Maggie is absolutely amazing as well. Her shot is probably one of the best that I've ever seen, men's or women's hockey. She is an absolute sniper. And, she came in freshman year and just was our leading goal scorer. It's amazing to watch and watch them grow, and as players and people and students. And again, she'll be doing amazing things for Princeton and Canada for a long time. And I'm so honored that I got to play with Maggie and Sarah.
Now, how do you balance academics and hockey, especially playing in an Ivy League school where there's a lot of rigorous academics, but you also have a tough ECAC schedule as well?
Yeah, that was definitely a hard thing to learn how to do freshman year. But, like I said, the older girls are, when I was a freshman, were really good at kind of helping and showing us that time management that we needed. We do a lot of work on the road, a lot of work on the bus. And, it's always so a couple times we'll stay at the same hotel with our travel partner, Quinnipiac, and we'll be in the lobby doing homework, and they'll be going out to get coffee or meet friends from the other team, and just hanging out, and we're all sitting in the lobby doing homework. So those times it's a little tough, but you have to think I'm getting the best education that I possibly can. And unfortunately, women's hockey isn't forever, and for that to be able to get the education at the number one university and to be able to play on such an amazing hockey team in a great league, you're really getting the best of both worlds. And it is hard to manage at times, but I'd say you learn pretty quickly your time management skills, and, like I said, utilize road trips and the bus time.
Now, you obviously get to play in a cool Holby Baker rink in Princeton, but besides that rink, what's your favorite road arena to play in?
I would say Dartmouth. It is for two reasons. It's a really nice rink. I like their stands, but also my brother went there, so I'm a little biased. So I had gone to his games a couple of times, and I actually watched a Dartmouth Princeton men's game when I was a senior in high school. So that was really cool. And then, to be on one side watching at a rink and then playing in it is really fun. So, for that reason, and just being up in Hanover is always really fun. I would say Dartmouth is my favorite road arena.
You had the opportunity last summer to participate in the USA Hockey Festival in Lake Placid. What was it like to be a part of that and playing against some of the best players in the country?
That was a great learning experience. Those USA hockey camps, they're always very stressful because you're being evaluated and you're playing against some of the best players, but it's a great experience. And playing against Olympians and with Olympians, and it's very scary at first, but then you realize I am seriously getting the best competition, the best leadership in the world, in the US. And it was just a really humbling experience to be there. with such amazing players. And I think I learned a lot, and, I'm excited to keep going and, translate what I've learned there, what I've learned Princeton in the future.
Now we're getting to the non-hockey segment of the podcast where I ask you some non-hockey questions. And my first one is, what's your favorite thing about Princeton that isn't hockey related?
So I can't think of just one. Well, first off, I would say like the history. The buildings are amazing. Like the history of the university, it's so old. You have some of the best professors, and because of like the renowned school. So I'd say that, and like the buildings are all look amazing. It's really cool just to walk through campus, and I would catch myself even after being there for years, just like admiring, where I'm going to school. And then also we have eating clubs. They're like kind of a fraternity sorority mixed in one with our meal plan. I don't know, it's a bit of a confusing thing, but that it's like our second community outside hockey. And I loved my eating club, loved the people in it. And I'd say that was also like a very, very unique thing to Princeton that I absolutely loved.
What is your biggest pet peeve?
I would say loud chewers or like gum smackers.
Yeah.
Just sitting next to people in like dining halls and dining rooms, if they are chewing loud, and in lecture, if people are smacking their gum, like it is so distracting to me.
What music do you listen to before a game?
I pretty much listen to like everything. I'm never the one on aux, so I'll listen to what people have on aux, but in my own headphones, I'm usually listening to, like kind of pump up music, but not too crazy. And I have a tradition actually that started in high school with Carly Lund that we listen to. It's not even like really a real song. It's someone's just like made it a rap. It's called Clear Eyes, Full Hearts. So it's from like the that saying, and they made a full rap on it. And I've listened to it before every college game and a lot of high school games too.
What's your ideal vacation spot?
The beach, for sure. Being in Minnesota and playing hockey, getting away to warm weather is always ideal.
Who on the team is the funniest?
Let me think. I would say, oh gosh, there's so many. It's hard to think. Sharon Frankel. She's absolutely hilarious. And when you need a laugh, she will always make you laugh. And it might be a little weird, but she is hilarious and a great presence in the locker room.
Now, my final non-hockey question is, who's the quietest on Princeton hockey?
I don't know. We're a pretty vocal team. We're this past year especially, we were very crazy. I would say, like, to the general public, I would say Kayla is pretty quiet, but again, once you get to know her, she absolutely is also hilarious and really comes out of her shell. But I'd say probably she's one of the quietest on our team.
Now, getting back to some final hockey-related questions before we let you go is, what do you think has to be done to grow women's hockey?
I think a big thing, and what they're trying to do right now, is just, compensating more and having like an increase in pay. And I absolutely admire what everyone is doing in the PWHPA. And I think fighting for like a sustainable women's league is what we need. And I also think it would be huge if more NHL teams kind of stepped up and helped the league get started. But yeah, I think definitely the compensation is a big aspect of it. And I would love to see something come from the PWHPA, and I think that the work everyone's doing is absolutely amazing. And I'm hopeful that in sometime, in my lifetime, there will be a league that's, comparable to the WNBA. And that's what everyone hopes for. And I think, I think it's possible, but we'll see.
What has been your favorite memory at Princeton so far for hockey?
Definitely winning ECACs. That was a moment that will never be beat, for it being our first time, and just everything that went into that game. And this season was absolutely amazing.
Now, what do you plan to do after graduation and in hockey?
So I'm actually leaving in like a week to go to Sweden. I'm playing in the professional women's league in Sweden, for Linköping. So I am super, super excited for that. I'm really excited, to be able to explore a new country and also to continue my hockey career. So that will be awesome. And I'm excited to get over there.
Now, do you have any shout outs before we let you go?
Well, I'll give a shout out to my whole team. I miss you guys so much. And also to Katerina and Lauren, because I told them about this before. So hi, guys.
Well, thank you so much, Carly, for coming on. I wish you the best in Sweden, and congratulations on graduating Princeton. That's a cool accomplishment.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was really nice to talk.
Awesome. Bye.
Bye.